up your engine! Now this video might prove a shocker to you, because I'm going to show you a Jaguar that I'd buy. Yes, after all those years of saying what horrible things they are, check out this one. This is a 2002 Jaguar S-Type. Customer mine just bought it, and you might think, oh, an 18-year-old endless money pit Jaguar, what a fool. Well, not really. As you can see from the body, the thing is in immaculate shape. Wheels are all clean, great tires on it. Sharp looking car. Check out the cream leather interior. It's in excellent shape, even the back seats. Looks like nobody's ever sat in the things. The English know how to make leather. And although this thing is 18 years old, it's still a baby. We'll turn the key on, 33,966 miles. And you might think, how could that be true? Well, this is an estate car. The woman died. All the records show from the inspection. That's the real mileage. In the end, she was only putting 200 miles a year on the car. And if you know a little bit about Jags, this is not that horrendous piece of crap X-Type that they made back then when Ford and Jaguar had a deal going on. This is the S-Type, completely different car. As we open the hood, you can see it's got a V6 engine. It's a 3-liter V6 engine, and it has reworked Jaguar heads. So it's basically a Ford engine with worked heads that Jaguar did. So this baby puts out 240 horsepower. The one that they used in the Lincolns, it had 30 horsepower less. It had the Ford heads. This has the Jaguar heads. It's actually an excellent engine, as is the transmission. This particular one has the Premium Sports Edition in it. So it was originally a $48,000 car, and it's got 30-something thousand miles on it. Even though I'm always telling you, don't ever buy a Jaguar. You want a fun toy? This would be the one to buy. The automatic transmission. It's a Ford 5-speed automatic transmission. It's dependable. It has a computer active technology suspension system. It rides quite well. Jags always did ride well. And this one has the computer activated one. Now yes, when they break, they cost a fortune. But this baby only has 33,000 miles on it, and the suspension's still working fine. 18 years old, but realize, wears out the suspension is miles and miles of bumps, and this only has 30-something thousand miles of bumps. Now, if you had 130, you'd have to spend a fortune on it, but you don't. It still rides fine. 18 years old? Check it out. Intake manifolds made out of solid metal. That's just the plastic cover. Of course, the heads are made out of metal, too. Not a bad car, because a lot of it is Ford, even though the vehicle was put together in Coventry, England. Back in those days, the British knew how to make things. 18 years old, look at these rims. Still in excellent shape. Check out the trunk. He's got a lot of junk in the trunk because there's a lot of space. You can put a lot of stuff in the trunk of one of these Jags. These leather seats are comfortable, and it's got such low mileage in it. Heck, the thing starts right up. After all, it's basically a Ford engine with reworked Jagged heads. Dependable engine for sure. It's got an American air conditioning system that still blows nice and cold. You can see the interior is not only comfortable, these are very comfy seats, but it's ultra clean because it was a little lady's car. She was the only one in the car. Sunroof still up there. The top isn't sagging or anything. These are decent built cars. Cool hidden compartment here. You can throw a bunch of junk in. Nice leather steering wheel with the old Jaguar grinning in your face, or should I say growling in your face. It's a classic rear-wheel drive car. 4 doors, rear-wheel drive. With that Ford V6, it's got plenty enough grunt. If you wanted more power, you could have gotten the one with a V8 option, but heck, this is a used car. It comes with what it comes with, and with only 33,000 miles on it, this V6 engine has got a lot of life, as does the Ford transmission that's in it. With the drivetrain basically being Ford, back in 2002, they were making pretty good drivetrains. Not the greatest for gas mileage, but this isn't a gas mileage car. From 1999 to 2007, they sold a little over 291,000 of these S-Types. So they sold quite a few of them. Wasn't like they just made a few. They made quite a bit. And being Ford parts, they're not all that bad to get common parts for. No, it is a heavy car. One of the reasons it rides so well. You don't get that much in gas mileage. This particular one gets about 16 in the city and gets about 24 on a highway if you're only going 55 miles an hour. And that's just a little bit lower gas mileage than I get in my wife's Lexus. They're not made for high gas mileage. They're not going to ride the way they do if they made them lighter and put smaller engines in them. Both of these have V6 engines. Hilariously enough, this is basically a Ford V6, and that's a Toyota V6 and a Lexus. But this does have, like I said, the reworked heads that Jaguar had. So it puts out 240 horsepower. It's got about 20 more horsepower than the Lexus has. And with this fancy electronic suspension, because this is the luxury one, you can see there's the electronics going into the strut. This thing really rides well. We'll take it for a spin. Start up if I can find the keys. I put them somewhere. There we go. Starts right up. Now we can see once it's started up, it does have the light on for ABS. There's an ABS problem in the car, which we're going to check out later, but really it's an add-on system. Many of these break. ABS systems are add-on, so it just goes to non-ABS normal braking when it does that. Later I'm going to check it out. He brought it in to have me check that out, but it'll probably be relatively expensive. It'll just live without it. Nice quiet car, handles like a dream. It's a tight steering vehicle. See if it's still got some get up and go. You can see it's not a race car, but it's got some get up and go, and it still shifts like a dream. The big thing about this car is it's an absolute cruiser. It's just a smooth ride, very comfortable inside. You can take this thing on a highway and just keep cruising. You're not going to get a sore neck or back. Passengers are going to be real comfy. And it does only have 33,000 miles on it. You just saw the traction control come on. That's because there's a problem in that system, which I'm going to scan later. See what's up, but as an overall car, this thing's in pretty good shape. You go slow, it's super smooth shifts. Often people will say, what's in a name? Well, in this case, there's a lot in a name, especially in a letter. This is an S-type. If this had been an X-type, as an X-ray, it would be a rolling pile of junk. It's the S-type, and they are decent cars, as long as they're lower mileage. Now, they don't make the S-type anymore for various reasons. One of the largest, as far as I'm concerned, is, Ford and Jaguar. They split up. And these things do get relatively low gas mileage, and everybody's pushing for higher gas mileage. So, this couldn't go along getting poor gas mileage like that. But if you don't mind the low gas mileage, and you can find one with real low mileage from an estate sale like this one, it can be a fun car. I mean, 48,000 new with 33,000 miles. Really, the guy got a good deal. Now, granted, it's not going to be his everyday driver. He's looking for a used Lexus SUV for that and his wife. This is going to be his fun toy that he can put 4,000 miles a year on. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a bad deal for him at all. So now you know the truth about S-type Jags. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Kid Kelly 100 says, hello, Scotty, I'm from Belgium. Question, people say that engines don't get head lubrication when they run. You know what I mean? Above the pistons and they go upwards. No, what you're talking about is when you start up a car, that's like 90-something% of the wears when they start. The head is the top of the engine. All the oil has drained into the bottom. And as you start the car, the oil pump's got to pump it back up. So it's always somewhat dry on the top. Now, for years, people have sold additives. Some of them work, some of them don't. From my experience, the ones that have molybdenum in them, molybdenum bisulfate, the moly oil, they actually have a tendency to stick on the metal parts and make a film. And it does seem to slow wear. Some guys swear by adding the molybdenum additive to the oil. Most modern cars, they pump up pretty fast. So you just start the car and wait 2 seconds. It's generally pumped enough stuff up that it's not gonna hurt. The worst thing to do would be, of course, start it up, rev it as high as you can and tear off. Just wait a second or two for the oil pressure to build up, and generally it's not gonna have any damage on it. It's just on startup. Once the car starts, the oil's pumped all over the place, and then it drips down from the top down. So there's plenty of lubrication then. If the engine was designed correctly, engines that Dodge has in the V8s, those Hellcat engines, some of those, the newer ones, they built them wrong. So the cams are too far from the crank and the cams run dry. So there are bad engines that continue to wear out because they weren't built right, especially at a low idle speed. But on any engine that's built right, like a Honda, Toyota, you name it, as soon as you start it, the oil lubrication is sprayed to the system and it works fine. Mr. Hallkid says, Scotty, would you pay $4,200 for a Saab 97X with 91,000 miles with no rust? The guy wants $5,254 for it. No, never, ever buy a Saab in the United States. The company went bankrupt ages ago. It was hard enough to get parts for them when they actually were in the United States. The last time I worked on one years and years ago, and there actually was a Saab dealer, I had to go there to buy transmission fluid, and the stuff was $30 a quart. Just a ripoff. They were a ripoff company, and they deserved to go bankrupt. The Chinese actually were going to buy it, but for some reason the Swedes, that Griffin or whatever it is that's their emblem, was supposedly a family crest, and they wouldn't let the Chinese use it. They're impossible to get parts for. Nobody knows how to work on those things. They're horrible cars. Don't waste, especially that kind of money. I wouldn't give $500 for that car. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.